guys, it's Emma, and I'm back today for you with another video. I apologize, just up front, for the fact that I've been gone for so long, for the fact that I've been inactive for so long. I'm just coming off of being sick. With this decrease of sick, I would like to introduce you guys to today's video. Today's video is all about tier ranking movies that I saw that came out in 2022. I want to try and make this a regular thing that I do from now on, just plainly because I would like to try and branch out into movies. Obviously, it's still going to be mostly book content on my channel. However, I would like to have some movie stuff here and there. I was also wondering if you guys would like to see an Avatar 2: The Way of Water review, okay? Because I have a lot of thoughts on it. But with that being said, let's get right into it. These are our tiers. First off, we've got Cinematic Masterpiece, the top of the top. Nobody can beat these, okay? Then we have So Close Yet Still So Good, just under the top. Didn't quite make it, but we recognize you right there. Then we have Good. These are just for movies that I thought were really good, would probably watch again, but aren't really that memorable, you know what I mean? Wild Time. Not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, just very memorable, either for good reasons or bad reasons. Then we have Lucky Casting. These are for the movies that honestly I would not have watched had a certain person not been in them, and the only reason why I think they're good in any sort of way is because of this person in this movie. Then we have Call the Director, because I have questions, because I have notes, we need to talk. And then we have Walkout, as simple as that. A movie that you thought was so bad that you couldn't finish it. First we have Lucy and Desi. And this is like the biopic of Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. And this is going into Cinematic Masterpiece. Look, I don't know what else you expected of me when you had a trailer of an old Hollywood couple that had Lana Del Rey's Young and Beautiful over it. This was just such a beautiful and tragic case of right person, wrong time. I've watched it like at least 4 times already. It is so good. I love it. We have the Tinder Swindler. This one's going into Wild Time. This was the first documentary that I ever watched on Netflix for 2022. I think it's still on there. I would honestly really recommend it. It's definitely interesting. It's about this guy that scammed these women out of literally thousands of dollars by pretending that his enemies were coming after. It was wild. It was wild, okay? And it was oddly very emotional, okay? So I would say that if you're looking for just a he did what type of thing, definitely watch the Tinder Swindler. Oh my goodness. Then we have Uncharted. Call the Director. Because what was this? Okay, look, Tom Holland cussing, I'm here for that every damn day of the week. Okay, but the dialogue in here was laughable at times. I despise forced funny. Okay, I remember because I took notes on every single movie that I watched. All of these movies right here, I took notes on all of them. And I remember writing down forced funny as a con for Uncharted because I despise it. It comes off as so evidently forced that it's just, what, you can't come up with clever wit? So no. Also, the biggest thing in here was that these guys are supposed to be treasure hunters, and kind of like I like Indiana Jones, I think. Don't come for my neck with that, but these guys are supposed to be treasure hunters, and they're looking for this lost treasure, and then they find it in the form of these really ancient pirate ships, and then all of a sudden they're having like an aerial fight, which was pretty cool, by the way, in these pirate ships, and these pirate ships are being like flown through the air by these helicopters, and they're crashing into one another. And I just remember being so upset because I was like, the history buff in me was shivering in her timbers. I don't care if any of these characters fall to their deaths. The pirate ships are ruined. They're ruined. All right. So no. Then we have the Batman. I'm gonna put this in good. My favorite Batman will always be, to the end of time, Christian Bale. Okay, there's just it's set in stone at this point. Okay, and this, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting kind of tired of Batman movies. all right? It's tired. Come up with something new, which we will get into when we talk about a later movie. Despite that, however, I think that this movie stands out amongst a lot of the Batman movies, okay? Plainly because of Robert Pattinson's portrayal of Bruce Wayne. Not of Batman, of Bruce Wayne, okay? Because one of the reasons why I love Christian Bale's portrayal of Batman, just the character in general, both sides, is how he portrayed Bruce Wayne. Because Bruce Wayne is a party boy. He's a pretty boy, he's a trust fund baby. Oh, we can't get into this restaurant, I'll buy it. You know what I mean? But the way Robert Pattinson played Bruce Wayne, I thought was really interesting because he played Bruce Wayne like a hermit. He played Bruce Wayne like this scared kid who didn't want to go outside, who didn't want to be associated with all the higher-ups, who's hiding behind the name of Bruce Wayne in order to be like, okay, there's the name, can y'all leave me alone? Lastly, it does not need to be 3 hours long. Okay, it does not. Directors, I'm gonna need y'all to lock that shit up, okay? Because not every movie needs to be 3 hours long for it to be successful. The endgame trick, that's not it. Now we have X. X is going into So Close Yet Still So Good. This is one of my favorite movies that I ever watched, okay? I'm not gonna lie, the beginning kind of threw me off a little bit. I was like, okay, where's this going? But the latter half of the movie was what I loved, okay? But that, and that is the reason why it's not in cinematic masterpiece. It's because of the fact that I wish that the former half of the movie was more like the latter half. Then we have You Won't Be Alone, and this one's going straight into a wild time, okay? This one's about a shape-shifting witch. This was just freaky. Okay, I did like the way it introduced a new type of shapeshifters. I really liked that type of lore. The fact that there was no soundtrack, which made it much, much more eerie than it already was. The main character doesn't talk, which makes everything more emphasized and climactic. I thought that was really clever. Probably wouldn't watch it again, though. As much as I'm praising it right now, I probably would not watch it again, just plainly because there were some sex scenes in here that just made me very uncomfortable. But the entire vibe of the movie, I think, is supposed to make you uncomfortable. And it definitely achieved that. So, she gets her Oscar for that, okay? Then we have Cobalt Blue, also going into a wild time. This, let me give y'all the rundown, okay? This is about a painter, I want to say, who rents this room in this family's house and gets with the gay son, the closeted gay son. And then, meanwhile, is getting with the straight daughter and gets the straight daughter pregnant, I think. It was wild, okay? I remember the soundtrack being very soothing, and the usage of color in here particularly was very beautiful. So yeah, Cobalt Blue was a time and a half. Then we have the Northmen. And I think I'm gonna put this in good. I loved Anya Taylor-Joy's acting in this. It was my first thing that I'd seen Anya Taylor-Joy in, and I'm a fan automatically, okay? She played this with her entire chest, okay? And I liked everybody else that played in it. I thought the acting in it was generally very good. However, there were some lines, particularly from, who was it, Thor, who was a little bit laughable at times. I was like, dude, okay, calm it down, you know? But besides that, I really did enjoy the fact that this was kind of like a Vikings meets V for Vendetta type of thing. If you haven't seen V for Vendetta with Hugo Weaving and Natalie Portman, you should. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a lot to take in at first. I understand that, but it's still one of my favorite movies, and that's why I think I like the Northmen so much. There was a thing with the threat of incest, but definitely interesting. Let me see. Then we have 365 Days This Day. Walk out immediately. What the hell was this movie? Okay. To whoever directed this movie, I want you to look me in my eye. We need to have a talk, okay? I'll buy you a drink. I don't care, but we need to have a talk, okay? Because this was atrocious. I think I made it 20 minutes in before I stopped, all right? This movie is nothing but montages of them driving around, shopping, and having sex with food. There is nothing else in this movie, okay? Oh, also her cheating on her husband. So isn't that a peach? I'm gonna put myself out on the line here, okay? The first movie was not good. It was entertaining though. It was damn sure entertaining, all right? This one though was not entertaining. I can give a movie some slack if it's bad, but at least it's entertaining. But if it's bad and it's not entertaining, Honeycomb, trash. Next, we have Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Honeycomb is going into so close yet still so good. This is one of my favorite Marvel movies that I've ever seen, okay? It was creepy. It was a trip, a literal trip. I would not want to watch this movie on acid, okay? I would not. My only con with this, and this is gonna transfer over to the next Marvel movie that I have on my list. I'm not a fan of Phase 4's dialogue most of the time, or at least its humor. There are just some lines that are laughable. Like, really? How do you as a serious actor say these lines seriously? You know what I mean? Anyway, that's the only con I have with this. Okay, first of all, Danny Elfman did the soundtrack. I think that's good enough. For those of you who are fans of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and The Nightmare Before Christmas, we know, okay, we are aware. And then it also pitted, in my opinion, the two strongest Avengers against one another, which is something I've always wanted to see. And I also was a fan of the cameos, okay? Fantastic Four and Charles Xavier, I was eating it up. I'm a sucker for cameos. Next, we have Top Gun Maverick. This, I think, was the biggest surprise for me for this whole year. I'm gonna put it in good. It was pretty damn good. Okay, I've never seen the original Top Gun. I know, throw your stones right now. I've never been a big Tom Cruise fan, but this was awesome, okay? I love the soundtrack. The soundtrack was a banger, all right? And I think this is one of the most successful sequels that I've seen, okay? And when you take into account the fact that Top Gun, the original Top Gun, was made in like the 80s, this sequel is coming like somewhere near 40 years later. I think it holds up pretty damn well. The parallels that they played with in this movie were amazing. I'm a sucker for cameos, which we talked about earlier, and I'm a sucker for parallels, all right? Which I think if you've seen some of my earlier book reviews, you'll know that. But, oh my goodness, the parallels between Iceman and Maverick, and then Rooster and Maverick, I just loved it. And then Hangman and Rooster, and Iceman and Maverick, I loved it. I also really did like the fact that they brought Val Kilmer back, because I'm a big Val Kilmer girl. What can I say? Next, we have Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. This is the first entry into Lucky Casting, because the only reason I watched it was for Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson's performance was amazing. However, the entire time that I was watching this, I was also being like, where is this movie going? And not in a good way. I remember not being able to dictate the plot path. Nancy, Emma Thompson's character, she has a character arc, if you can call it that, but it really doesn't do much. So, as much of a feel-good movie as this was, I probably wouldn't watch it again. Next, we have probably the biggest disappointment of the year for me, and that is Thor: Love and Thunder, and that is going into immediately call the director. Call the director. The director should be on the line within seconds, okay? My gripe with the humor that Marvel is using now comes to a header with Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't think I would have as big of a deal with it, like the humor itself, if it was used more subtly or in a more subtle way, because there are some very emotional moments in this movie. Jane, we find out that Jane has cancer, stage 4 cancer. When she tells Thor, hey, I've got cancer, she immediately tells a joke. The joke didn't land, by the way, and it was like that emotional moment was immediately dashed. It ruins the emotional integrity and the emotional stakes of these scenes. Jane was awesome. In the other Thor movies, I thought she was amazing. She's one of my favorite Marvel characters, and to see her as Lady Thor, I need a drink. Oh my goodness gracious. What a woman! I just love Natalie Portman in general. And then to see her as Lady Thor, it was amazing, okay? So I think that's a real reason why I was so disappointed. It was just the potential for this movie to be so good. And it was not even flushed, thrown out the window. Now we have the Gray Man, and the Gray Man is going into good. I liked the Gray Man, okay? I've only ever seen Ryan Gosling in The Notebook, and I'm a fan of his acting in The Notebook, so I was like, okay, you know what, this is an action role for him. Let me see how he does. I thought he did pretty damn well, okay? Besides some questionable bits of dialogue, if you haven't noticed by now, dialogue is very important for me. I loved, especially the camera angles used in this movie. I'm always a sucker for the guardian trope, the bodyguard trope, and this had it, okay? And Chris Evans as this villain was a choice at times, but hilarious at others. So, next, the person of the hour, we have Prey, which is going right into Cinematic Masterpiece, and in fact is going to the top of Cinematic Masterpiece, all right? Prey is my favorite movie that came out last year. Predator is one of my favorite movie monsters of all time. As soon as this movie was a rumor in production, I was immediately on the trail, okay? I needed to see this movie. I remember when it came out, I had the whole house to myself, my roommates were gone, I was like, yes, tonight, this is Prey night. Let me just tally off, okay? I love the usage of language in this movie. The fact that we don't get subtitles with the Frenchmen makes it that much scarier, okay? And puts us deeper into the shoes of our main character. It was amazing, because we don't know what they're saying. We don't know what they're gonna do with us. Second, I loved the camera angles in this. This was such a beautifully shot movie. I love the fact that there's a whole version dubbed in Comanche. I love that it's dedicated to the Comanche Nation. I loved just the fact that it's set with the Comanche Nation in general, how it's a prequel to the entire franchise, okay? How we literally see Predator learn about all these different animals and be like, okay, this is a threat, this is a threat, this is a threat, this is a threat. The bear versus Predator brawl was sick, okay? I think one of my favorite shots from this movie is when the Predator kills the bear and holds it over its head. And then the blood from the bear drips down and basically drenches the Predator in blood, and therefore creates the silhouette of the Predator. I about had a field day! Prey was so good, okay? And I think it handled the start of the franchise extremely well. Then we have They/Them. This is also going into lucky casting. The only reason I watched this movie is because it had Kevin Bacon in it, and of the punny title, They/Them, because it's a slasher movie. I thought it was cute. If I had to describe this movie with one word, I think it would be tame. You know that these are horrible people. This is a conversion therapy camp, okay? You know these people are horrible people for doing this to these kids. You know this logically, but rationally, the emotions of everybody was just a little confusing to me. I remember being like, what, why did he say that? What? And also the impromptu voguing to Pink was interesting. Would I watch it again? Maybe. Give me 2 glasses deep. I'll watch it again. Then we have The Invitation, Cinematic Masterpiece. I don't care. 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 I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, okay? I loved this. Are you kidding me? The usage of lighting in here made the movie so much creepier than I think it would have been had they not have been as clever with the lighting, okay? I loved the plugs of the original Bram Stoker's novel, Dracula. I thought it was so good. This is a vampiric Ready or Not, with a much smarter main character. Next, we have Inside the Mind of the Cat, and I'm gonna put this in good. This was squarely good. This was also a Netflix documentary that came out, and I think that, you know, if you were like me and you grew up watching Animal Planet and Cats 101, there's a lot of stuff in here that may not be new to you and therefore kind of be boring, but there were some things in here that I thought were interesting and new that I did not know. So I don't know, I think if you're a cat owner or just a cat lover in general, I think you'd really like this. Next we have Pinocchio. This one's also gonna go in good. I was like, hey mom, I have to watch this movie. Do you wanna watch it with me? She was like, all right. And we had a hoot and a holler watching this movie, okay? I thought the animation was gorgeous. I loved the animation. Guillermo del Toro, he just doesn't disappoint, okay? I did, however, think that the pacing of the movie was a little bit disjointed, just plainly because of the voice acting. I did, however, love the usage of war in this movie, and I thought the music was really good too. Next, we have Barbarian. And I'm gonna put this in Call the Director, okay? It would have gone into lucky casting because of Bill Skarsgård. However, alongside Christian Bale, Bill Skarsgård could not save this movie for me. Therefore, we're calling the director. Can we please make horror movies in general with a smart main character, or at least a main character that has some lick of common sense? What do you mean there's an ominous door that you didn't know that was here, that was hid in the plaster, and you want to go into it? What do you mean you want to keep going down this long corridor after you found a room with a bed, a dirty mattress, a bucket, and a video camera in it? What do you mean that at the end of this long corridor that was ominous as shit, all right? What do you mean when you get down to this corridor's end that you find a mining shaft and you still want to go down there? What do you mean? I hate it when there's like points in the plot that are obviously there just to move the plot. Barbarian was full of them, especially with the homeless dude that died the second that the villain came in there, despite having survived her for 15 years. And the only reason that he died was because the main characters were there as well. That's the reason why I stopped watching The Walking Dead, okay? So no, I hated that. And then also the whole thing with the villain was just a severely inbred woman. But my whole thing with her was, you're telling me that she jumped off of a water tower and survived? I'm sorry. Director, does being inbred give you supernatural powers? It was creepy. Okay, I'm gonna give it that. It was creepy as shit. But the logistics of this movie were not it. Then we have Do Revenge. Do Revenge is going into a wild time. Okay, this is another one of my favorite movies that I watched last year. Do Revenge, it is messy. Lord, it is messy, okay? These people are not good people. They are not good people. But, oh my goodness gracious, are they entertaining as hell to watch. Okay, this movie does not take itself seriously, which I adore. It was so funny, okay? And I just loved it. It was such a good, fun movie to watch, okay? Also, Sophie Turner's iconic, "I don't do cocaine! I don't even know what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like!" And then also, glennergy. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I loved this movie. This movie was great. On the contrary, next we have Black Adam, and Black Adam is going immediately into lucky casting. Okay, it's still an entertaining movie, which is why it's not going into Call the Director. Okay, that is the only reason, and damn if the line is not thin. The reason why it's in lucky casting is because Aldous Hodge is in this movie. The only reason I wanted to watch this was because it was Aldous Hodge, because the only thing I've seen him in is those 2 or 3 episodes of Supernatural where he killed Sam. And I was like, okay, I haven't seen him in anything. Let me watch this. He's Hawkman. A DC superhero that's not Batman or Wonder Woman or The Flash or Aquaman or Superman? Sign me up. It's about time. Okay, so I loved his acting in this. I was surprised when I saw Pierce Brosnan, and I was like, okay. The woman that played Cyclone, she was awesome. Noah Centineo was in this. I was pleasantly surprised by his acting too. But damn these lines. Who wrote the script? And the soundtrack was not it 85% of the time. And I may be biased because the only time I ever think of the Black Adam soundtrack is that janky ass cover that they did of Paint It Black. Y'all should have just bought the rights of Sierra's cover from the last Witch Hunter, and it would have been fine. There was also just so much crammed into this movie. I remember being like, okay, wait, go back. What'd you say? Okay, wait, go back. What'd you say? Every 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. okay? Especially if I had seen it in theaters, I would have been so confused. I would have been so confused. Also, the CGI was either really good or really, really bad. There was no in between. Next, we have the Banshees of Inisherin. I'm gonna put this also in good. Okay, I'm a Colin Farrell girl. I love his acting. I loved him in this. I loved Barry Keoghan as Dominic. I thought he played him phenomenally. I loved Brendan Gleeson's acting. It was a dramedy. It did get boring at times, I'm not gonna lie, especially more towards the end, but I really did enjoy the metaphor of these two men feuding being a metaphor for the Irish Civil War. I thought that was really clever. I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if I would watch it again, quite honestly, just plainly because I think it's a little bit too slow moving for me. Next, we have Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Homegirl is going in so close, yet still so good. First of all, my dad and I went to go see this movie. We had the whole theater to ourselves. It was kick-ass, okay? The soundtrack is a banger. Angela Bassett's performance, stunning, okay? Tenoch Huerta's performance, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right. If I'm not, I do apologize. The man who played Namor, his performance was killer, all right? He was an awesome villain. I loved how this movie portrayed grief, and not only the sorrow that you get from grief, but the anger that resides behind grief. The fight scenes were sick, okay? They didn't look obviously choreographed. I thought they were great. I thought they were great. Okay, I loved how the entire thing was a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. The only reason that it's not in Cinematic Masterpiece is because I thought it was a little drawn out. There's one scene in particular that I'm thinking of where it was Shuri, she has Namor basically at her spear point. She's got her spear point pointed at his neck, and she's about to give the killing strike. But there's supposed to be like some, emotional toil in between, her wanting revenge for everything that he's done versus her wanting to do the right thing, which is not to kill him and make him a martyr. To show that toil, they just did a shot of Namor, a shot of Shuri, a shot of Namor, a shot of Shuri, a shot of Namor, a shot of Shuri, etc., etc., etc. And it went on, and I was like, okay, can we, so that is the only reason that Wakanda Forever is not in Cinematic Masterpiece, but I think it is one of the best Marvel movies that has ever been made. Finally, we have Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm going to try and keep this one as short and simple as I can, okay, because like I said, I would like to come out with a review of it, so I'm going to try and keep it short and simple. Avatar: The Way of Water is going into good. I have two main problems with Avatar: The Way of Water, all right? One is its very apparent recycling. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Okay, that's immediately what I think of whenever I think of the Avatar sequel, okay? It's recycling of plot lines. It's recycling of characters. It's recycling of just scenes as well. And then my second gripe is that it was just so damn long, okay? That's a lot of my gripes with a lot of big movies that come out, because a lot of directors just think that in order for the movie to be successful, they need to be 3 hours long. Because Endgame was 3 hours long. Honeycomb. Y'all directors need to understand that the trick for a movie being successful is not to make it a marathon to watch. All right? Endgame did so well, not because it was 3 hours long. It was 3 hours long and it still missed stuff. Okay? But because it was a culmination of 10 years worth of movies. That is the Endgame trick. The Endgame trick is not making a movie 3 hours long. Like I said earlier, the Endgame trick is not what you think it is. Those are my two main gripes. I loved the visuals though, and it was so nostalgic. I remember the first 5 seconds in the theater, I started tearing up because I was like, it's Avatar. I'm with Avatar again. It was awesome, okay? And Neytiri, I knew I liked that bitch, okay? I loved seeing her rage in this movie. It was sick, okay? This is my tier ranking, okay? I'm actually very, very content with where everyone is. So you guys, that was me tier ranking all of the movies that came out in 2022 that I watched. I hope you enjoyed. If you disagree or agree with me about any of these ratings, let me know down below. With that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you will look out for more videos that I put out on my channel, that you guys are staying safe, and that you guys have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.